Hey everybody. So in this video, we are going to be simplifying trig expressions. So in this problem, we have sine of x times cotangent squared all over 1 plus sine of x all plus 1. So one thing when you're simplifying expressions that may be helpful is to look at the quantity that is squared. So here, this is cotangent squared. What you want to do is pay attention to your Pythagorean identities, because cotangent squared may be able to be rewritten as something that makes the problem a little bit easier to work with. So here, cotangent squared, if I subtract the 1, would be equal to cosecant squared minus 1. Now, this may be a little bit easier to work with because cosecant is 1 over sine, and sine is my variable throughout the rest of the problem. So here, I'm going to try substitution, and that way I can just eliminate cotangent altogether, and now I'm only working with one variable, and that variable is sine. So let's rewrite this. Here we have sine of x times, we're going to replace cotangent with cosecant squared minus 1. And this will all be over 1 plus sine of x. And then this will be plus 1. So what I'm going to do now is rewrite cosecant squared and put it in terms of sine of x. So here I'll have sine of x times 1 over sine squared minus 1, and this will all be over 1 plus sine of x. Plus 1 here. So now what I'll do is I will distribute. So I'm going to say sine times 1 over sine squared x. So this gives me sine of x all over sine squared of x. So this was sine times this fraction. Sine times negative 1 is minus sine of x. This will now be all over 1 plus sine of x plus 1. So before we try to get common denominators, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this right here. So sine over sine squared is just 1 over sine of x. So here I have 1 all over sine of x. This is subtracting sine of x. This is all over 1 plus sine of x plus 1. Now what I'll do is I'll get my common denominators here. So if I multiply by sine x over sine x, that would give me a sine x on the bottom, and it would make this a squared on top. So now I have 1 minus sine squared. This is all over sine of x. And this is being multiplied by 1 over 1 plus sine of x. Because you would say divide by 1 plus sine of x, but remember that when you're dividing fractions, you have to keep change flip. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's being multiplied by 1 over 1 plus sine of x. So we must do this first, then we'll add the 1. Now, instinctively, what a lot of people like to do is to say, oh, 1 minus sine squared of x. Oh, that's just cosine squared of x. That's true, but what you don't want to do at this stage of the problem is introduce another trig expression, because we really don't want to work with 2 when we can just work with 1. So with 1 minus sine squared of x, you may want to think about that as something like 1 minus x squared, because that's a difference of squares. So this is actually factorable, and I could factor it to be 1 plus sine of x times 1 minus sine of x. Now this 1 plus sine x and this 1 plus sine x eliminate. So what I'm left with is 1 minus sine of x all over sine of x plus 1. So we'll write that on the next slide. Okay, so here's what I'm left with after I reduce. So now I'm going to do the same thing again. I want common denominators. So I'm going to rewrite 1 to be sine of x over sine of x. Now I can combine these two fractions. So here I have 1 minus sine of x plus sine of x all over sine of x. Now these two signs will cancel, and my answer is 1 over sine of x, and 1 over sine of x will reduce to give me cosecant x. So here, this problem will reduce to give me cosecant x. All right, that's going to be it for this problem. I hope that you found it helpful. If you have any questions, please make sure you leave them in the comments, and we'll see you all in the next video.